Let's go ahead and back another new project into the Auto Obsessive Garage. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for the start of a new project series. That project series is Project Mini Green Bean, and that green bean is that 2005 Mini Cooper S behind us in a beautiful shade of British Racing Green. Little intro to the Mini. I'm not going to talk about the historic Minis from the 60s, 70s, 80s. They're fantastic cars, and that could be a huge history lesson in itself. Just speaking of their racing endeavors and successes, what I want to talk about now is the reincarnation. Retro cars were becoming hot at this time in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. But the Mini Cooper S was no exception. The brand wanted to be brought back, and here's what we got. It's a very cool car, polarizing somewhat in the looks department. I find them very attractive, but some people a little skeptical. The initial ones, the R53s, but these original ones were 1.6 liter supercharged engines. In 2007, they went to a 1.6 turbocharged engine with direct injection. I owned a 2009 one of those, and it's a fantastic car. You get a good boost in power, but at the cost of that direct injection causing carbon buildup on your intake manifold, which is every 35,000 miles, you're taking that bad boy out and giving it at least a walnut blasting. So that kind of stinks, but I want to focus on these guys, the supercharged ones. This one also has very low mileage. Usually you're finding them in the 120 to 200,000 mile range for these 05s and that similar time period. But this one only has 86,000, so probably, I think it might be one of the lower mileage cars I have in my fleet right now, so that's cool. One more thing, I want to get back to pricing though, because pricing is important. You can find $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 Mini Cooper S's from this period, but maintenance, my friends. This is not, I don't think this is a crazy maintenance car, but it is European, and with that comes maintenance intervals. It is a sporty car, which also increases maintenance intervals. So you're gonna be on top of your wearables. This thing tends to eat through suspension components like shocks quicker than your average car. It also goes through tires quicker than your average car, so be expecting that, especially based on how you drive. So clutches, yeah, they like to get used up really quick too. The previous owner already did the clutch on this one, OEM BMW clutch, super happy with that. That's a tough little job to do. But you're looking at that. If not, you're going to be out some money if you're not doing it yourself. Even if you're doing it yourself, parts still kind of expensive. So you add all that in, and if you're paying labor, you're at a $10,000 Mini Cooper by that point. So keep that in mind. Look at the maintenance, look at what's been done, your wearables. That's my buying advice for you guys. However, I like to look for low mileage, the cleanest I can find, and I'm a maintenance freak, so I'm going to get on this one and make it exactly how it should be. So that's going to be the start of this project, guys. I'm really excited for this one. Let me give you a tour of the car and show you guys what I'm working with condition-wise and what maintenance items we're going to have to take care along this Mini's build. So let's get in the garage and do a little introduction. And here's our 2005 Mini Cooper S. Oh, it's lovely. I love British Racing Green on these cars. I love these early Cooper S's with the supercharged 1.6, especially with that nice tight 6-speed manual. This is a no sunroof car, which is a little bit rarer. It's hard to find those. It's kind of the stripper model, if you will. But no, it's real nice. It's got the good options I wanted. It's got the lightweight 16-inch wheels. That's just some overview stuff. But let's take a tour of the car like I always do. Shockingly, this car only has 86,000 miles on it, which is ridiculous for a 2005 Mini Cooper S. That is extremely low. Most of them are going to be in the 120,000+ range by this point in time. This is now a going on 18-year-old car, which is insane to think about. So overall condition, paint is good. No clear coat, no fade, a little dusty. There's some imperfections. It looks like maybe some pitch or bugs or bird poop. We're gonna really deep clean this paint. Some little swirl marks, things like that. But we can get that out. That's not gonna be a problem. We're gonna really hit it hard, clay bar, buff it, bring it back to life. But overall, let's go around the exterior. Headlights need to be restored. Some bumper chips there, we can correct that. Wheels again, 16-inch. These are the lighter weight ones you could have on this model. There's a lot of different wheels, and I love how these 16s, I think the 17s look a little big, but I love how these 16s look, especially in that pattern. British Racing Green is where it's at. You get the silver mirrors. Again, look at that. Flat roof. No double pane sunroof, so that's good for weight reduction and keeping the weight balance down low. God, I love these Mini Coopers. They just nailed the styling, right? Taillight's pretty faded. Nice little ding there. I'm gonna try to PDR, bounce that out, and fix it up. Might have to respray this bumper because it looks like it was parked on the streets quite a bit. A lot of bumper taps there. So I might just bring that bumper back to life. You guys know how I do it. Got your Cooper S badge there. Mini symbol, rear wiper. Cool little spoiler. You'll notice that the third tail light is completely missing. So we're going to be replacing that. We've got stuff to do. Don't fool yourself. Cooper S trademark, the center exhaust, but pretty straight down the sides of the car. Some little dings here and there, but not bad at all. Overall, I'd rate this pretty high. Known issue is this front wheel. They definitely hit something. Look at that. That wheel's no good to me. Closer inspection, you can see the actual spoke there is cracked all the way through. The center cap's missing. It's time to trash that wheel. It might be able to be restored, but I'm not going to play that game. I'm going to source another mini wheel to take its place. The other thing I didn't mention is look at these tires. Every tire is a different brand. Some are, they're like 185s in the front, which is weird because it's supposed to be a 195 all-around car. So new tires, definitely on the list of items. But overall, I'd rate this exterior pretty high for most of the cars I look at. So inside the 2005 Mini Cooper S, and you got a pretty good spot in here. It's not looking bad at all. Seats are leather in fantastic shape. Again, only 86,000 miles. Same with the back seats. Looking good back there. Dash, everything's good. Original floor mats, 3 pedals, just how you should have a Cooper S. Climbing in the interior, you get a little door sill that says Cooper S, kind of cool. Ooh. This one has this kind of shiny gunmetal gray for the dash. Apologize for the sharp light coming through. It's a kind of cool effect though. But we got that gunmetal gray, looks cool. You have your traditional toggle switches, which I love. This is a non-nav, no fancy interior gimmicks. So it's only got the tack above the steering wheel, which is exactly how I wanted it optioned. I think that is iconic to me, just to have that tack dead center. Makes you really get a sporty feel, sporty vibe from this Mini. Huge speedometer, absolutely love that when it's illuminated at night. Such a cool sight. Everything's looking good. Door panels all look good. I thought there were little, little caps that go in those holes, but that's how it comes. I guess all in the name of weight reduction. That's how it comes from the factory. But heated seats on this one, and then of course, probably the most valuable part, the 6-speed manual. What a great shifter! Huge shifter knob. Kind of love it. Kind of cool feel. Steering wheel pretty straightforward. Minimal buttons. Kind of looks like a PlayStation controller. Gotta love that. Shout out to all my PlayStation homies out there. But it's not all perfect on the interior, I'll tell you that much. First off, it took a lot of cleaning. They had a white dog at one point, so I had to take a lot of dog hair out of here. I'll probably show that in a future episode. And traditional Mini fashion, if you don't have a sunroof, you get to have this, the saggy headliner of doom. So we're gonna pull this headliner out and replace it. We need to do that. I just can't have a circus tent looking headliner. This center light's missing these little caps at the end, and I don't know why, but these are freaking expensive. If you want to buy another one of these, or just the caps or the button covers, it's missing both the end ones. Let's turn on the lights. I did source a whole new one. The center button isn't working either, or it might be the light bulb inside, but we're gonna replace this whole unit. Everything's gonna come down anyway to take the headliner, and we're gonna pull the whole cardboard headliner out at one point. So that's a future project. If you need that on your Mini Cooper, I'll be showing you how to do that. Short enough. Nice interior. Pretty high marks overall. Very clean car. I always forget, hopping out of a ton of other vehicles and getting back in this Mini, is the hood release is on the passenger side. And nothing says British, I guess German, or European. We'll just say European. Like having the hood release on the passenger side of the vehicle. You gotta love those little, we'll call them features, I guess. Again, original Mini floor mats, gotta love that. Hood release is right here, passenger side. Let's pop the hood and check out this supercharged engine. Hood struts are still working, so nice bonus there. And there it is, the 1.6 liter supercharged Mini Cooper S engine with a top mount intercooler. Now I did own a follow-up generation, an '09 Mini Cooper S, which has the turbocharged engine, and it has a front mount intercooler. So you don't have this intercooler blocking everything. And the hood scoop's non-functional on that one, but on this one, that little hood scoop feeds air right into this top mount intercooler. So here it is. Also, a difference between these and the follow-up turbocharged ones is the headlight assembly comes up with the hood. So it gives you a little more access to the side of the engine, some of this piping and wiring. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, you get a lot of accessibility. The engine is kind of just out there for you to get to. I think that is a cool design. I think they should have kept that. And the hood is actually still pretty light with the headlights up. So now overall, engine bay is pretty good. Huge bonus, previous owner just completed the clutch service, put a brand new OEM BMW clutch in it, and that's a pain. That's something you guys are gonna look for on these cars. They tend to eat clutches pretty quickly. 100,000 miles is probably where you need to start looking at a clutch if you're starting to get any slipping or anything. They are a pretty aggressive little car, driven pretty aggressively, especially at their price point. Good bonus there, nice OEM clutch. So what I'm looking for in here, things we're gonna do is, I know the plug wires, these are all original. I didn't see any receipt of the spark plugs being done. And I might do these coils too, just to give it a fresh start. I know they have some concerns with those going bad too. So yeah, we're at 86,000, but the car is 18 years old, so it's about time to start doing some of those wear items. Valve cover gasket is seeping a little bit, I saw that. I'm sorry, the lighting is not the best. So we're gonna have to pull that off, which means pulling our intercooler, top mount intercooler off to access that. It's all fine and dandy. We gotta do the plugs and everything too. So we'll open it up. We'll do a new air filter. And when I was inspecting under here, I did see a tear here in the intake hose here. That is a bad sign. That's gonna be some possibly causing the fuel economy to drop and all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm gonna source another one of these hoses. That's just known to happen. You know, the rubber from this period, not the most durable. So we'll replace that. That's a good thing to look for. Any kind of rubber, any kind of hoses, anything that can cause a vacuum leak, especially with a supercharged or turbocharged car, you want to go ahead and source that out and replace it before you start putting mileage on the car. But overall, needs a good cleaning under here. We'll be doing all our fluids like we always do because we are crazy like that. But here it is, the 1.6 supercharged engine. Man, this thing whines. It makes all kinds of perfect noises, and it's very, very responsive. It's a very frenetic, very eager power plant, and I love it. Fits the car's personality absolutely perfectly. Coming around to the tailgate of the Mini Cooper S, one of the first things we're gonna replace are these trunk struts. I absolutely hate having a trunk with blown struts because it really is annoying putting stuff in the back, which there isn't a lot of room to do so, but you can fit some good stuff. You can fit bags back there, some groceries, pretty cool little partial shelf with a vent on it, gotta love that. We're doing both struts for sure, because if I let go, it'll do that right on my head, which is absolutely pleasant. Since we're gonna be swapping out the tires and cleaning up the wheels, we gotta pull these center hubcaps off, and let me show you how to do that. What you don't want to do, and you can see a couple little marks here where other people have done it around the wheel, is use a screwdriver and pry that piece out because it will damage the wheel. Don't do that, guys. Get yourself a nice little hook tool. You're going to use any one of these little access holes here and just simply pull. Just like that, access to your lug nuts, and you're not making a mess of your wheel. After pulling that center cap off, I noticed that there are factory locking lug nuts. So let's go find the key, and I'll show you guys where that's located. You're gonna come around to the trunk of your Mini Cooper, pop that, and hopefully you have hood struts that work. I don't. We're gonna open this little carpet cover, which is over your battery area. You can see the battery, and there's a little spot right there. So you can see this little hole right here next to the battery where my finger is. That is where your locking key should be. Yep. That's a sad trombone sound. Whoop, whoop, whoop. For me, because mine's not there. So I need to go source another one of those. Don't worry, they're available online from many sources. So now I get to go buy one of those before I can even think about taking my wheels off. Let's get our Mini Cooper up in the air. With the car in the air, we're gonna check our play on our wheels, make sure our control arms, outer tie rods are all good. So side to side, steering rack's just moving a little bit. That's what you're hearing. That's normal. I didn't feel any weird play driving the car. We're gonna test up and down, no movement at all. This is an 86,000 mile car, so I didn't expect much. One thing you can see here, just out of frame, let me bring you up a little bit, is the stock suspension. Now, 86,000 isn't a lot, but these cars, I've noticed chew up suspension pretty quick, and this thing is rough. It rides incredibly rough. They are a firm riding vehicle from the factory, that is very true. But over the like bridge gaps, small like undulations that are very quick, this car crashes over them. That's usually an indicator that your shock's blown. We're gonna get under the car in a second and see if the fluid's leaked out, but safe bet at 18 years old, these stock shocks need a replacement. Crawling under the Cooper S, and we are greeted with some just grime. I don't see anything shiny, I don't see anything clear or oil color dripping. This car does not leak anything. I've had it parked in the garage for a while, not a single spot of anything. You can tell historically there's some grime here. This could be an old valve cover leak that slowly seeps and that oil collects dirt before it actually can drip. That's how you get that crud buildup. That fan is something usually worth cleaning up too. But underneath, we're gonna do a pretty good clean job. It's a little nasty. Got a nice old oil gunk film everywhere. Again, 18-year-old car. We're gonna come out to the suspension components where we just were. What we're actually looking for, sorry, not the best lighting either, is we're checking these boots to see if the axle boots are torn. I don't see any indication of that. We're looking for the, bad angle, let's come back a little bit. Looking for the outer tie rod, right there on the tie rod, looking for that. That's also looking good. The shocks themselves coming around. And yeah, it's got a lot of grime on the actual shock structure on the outside of the strut here, and yeah, it's definitely leaked out its fluid a long time ago. Original, definitely needing to be replaced. Come to the passenger side, same situation. This axle, actually boot looks a lot newer, so this axle, which actually looks a lot newer too, might have been replaced. So I'll check the service records to confirm that. But that looks good. Tie rod on the other end looks good. Control arm looks good. None of these bushings look too horrible. I think there was some service done too, so I'll double check that. Underneath, car looks really good. You're looking for any other signs of damage, not running over anything. Exhaust looks incredibly nice. Again, rust free, of course, like all the cars here. So looking really clean under here. We'll just clean up all this old gunk from former leaks. And hard to see in there, but the pads do have a lot of meat on them. That's interesting. They might have had a pad slap done relatively recently. I didn't think I saw a record for that. But when we come to the rotor, you can see some pretty good grooves and a hugely well-defined lip right there, especially if your finger's catching on it. And that's caused by the pad riding on the edge of the rotor, like it should. But over time, especially 18 years, this is gonna be the OEM rotor, I guarantee it. It just wears a lip in there, and not ideal. That rotor's probably really past its prime. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it safe. Rotors, pads, fluid, good quality of each of those commodities, and this car will be braking like it should, and it needs to brake good because this is a sporty driving little car. I've got my clipboard of doom, and it's time for the expensive part of this introduction. Let's get to it. All right, mechanically, we'll start off there. This Mini Cooper S needs the following. A valve cover gasket replacement, take care of that slight oil leak. That intake hose we found torn, we gotta replace that. Brakes all the way around. We're gonna be doing pads, rotors, new fluid, spark plugs, wires, and the coil pack. Go ahead and replace that at this time. All 4 shocks, since they're completely blown out and ancient, we're gonna get this thing riding as good as a Mini Cooper S can. And then oil change, air filter, basic maintenance stuff. Exterior wise, we need a lot. New tires need to be on this car since they're mismatched, wrong sized, and ancient also. Need that lug nut tool that's missing. Got to purchase that before we can do tires. We're going to replace the broken wheel, the one that's cracked and obviously hit something large. We're going to replace that with an OEM 16-inch wheel, matching. Third brake light needs to be replaced. Who knows what happened to that. Paintless dent removal. Car needs a little bit of PDR, especially on that back bumper and on the doors. There's some dents. We'll take care of that. Also going to clean up that paint quite a bit. Probably going to strip it down, clay bar, buff, polish, all that kind of fun stuff. New windshield wipers, and clean up the headlights and taillights to round out the exterior. Get the British Racing Green car looking like it should. Interior wise, just the headliner is the big thing. We'll replace the dome light when we do that. But headliners are a pain in the butt, and I'm kind of scared to do that job since you have to pull everything out. But we're gonna give it hell like we always do, and that's what I got for our painful list here. I'm excited to start this project. It's gonna be a fun car, a car I've always wanted. I've wanted one of these supercharged minis, and they're just badass. So super excited, but tune in next time. We're gonna start wrenching on this little green fella behind me. Take care, guys. Thanks again as always.